What's going on, guys? It's Brandon L. Draper with the Start Thinking Forward morning show. Hey guys, if you haven't heard about a free way to share your story or voice with a community of like-minded people, well, I got something for you. The no excuse way to start your podcast. Let me explain. First and foremost, it is free 99. They got all types of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. No special equipment needed, right? You can also make money from your podcast. There's not a minimum amount of people need to listen to it. It's everything plus more that you'll need to create your very own podcast in one place. So, what are you waiting on? Download your free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to the Start Thinking Forward morning show. This is your host, Brandon L. Draper, coming to you live from the Start Thinking Forward studios. And today, this morning, we're going to talk about how not to relapse in 2020. Guess what, guys? I just relapsed, right? I just fed myself a bunch of poison. So for the last couple of days, I haven't been up there. You know why? Because life hit me. All right. So I've been dealing with some other issues, some other business issues, personal issues, just things is happening. And I just got demotivated. Right. And just to be honest with you guys, because, I made some promises when I first started this podcast. I made some promises like, I'm always going to be here. So I want to talk about how not to relapse in 2020. And I want to talk about 3 points. Right. The first point I want to talk about is sometimes we forget who we are. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about this morning. The second thing we're going to talk about is remembering how strong we are, right? And the third thing is knowing how many people depend on you. So let's talk about the first thing. Sometimes we forget who we are, right? So out of all the possibilities, you were born, you're here in this moment, right? So it is not by accident that you're here in this moment. It's not by accident, right? So if it's not by accident, we all know no matter what you're going through in your life, just understand this basic notion that at the end of the day, for a fact you have a purpose in your life, period. If you didn't have a purpose in your life, you wouldn't be here, period. There's no other thing you can add to that. At the end of the day, if you did not have a purpose, you would not be here. You're here because you have a purpose. You have to remember that, right? Sometimes we absolutely forget who we are. We're trying to impress people that don't care. We're trying to keep up with status quo. And sometimes we forget about those that were there for us, those that was in the fight with us. You got to remember those things because those are the things that keep you planted, right? So when you're getting to that point where you're about to relapse, meaning think about it. People have all types of addictions. People have drug addictions. They have many different addictions, but there's all types of addictions outside of just drugs, right? There are addictions of people of always self-sabotaging themselves. They always find a way to self-sabotage themselves. They always come away where they're not good enough. They're an imposter. Who am I? People always told me my whole life I wasn't going to be anything. This is not a different moment in time. So when I start doing something, I'm not going to be consistent with it because it's kicking my butt just a little bit. And so now I'm going to relapse to feeding myself, feeding my mind, my mindset, poison. I'm not good enough. I'm going to compare myself with someone who's my age. Well, so-and-so is 40 something years old, or so-and-so's younger than me, 10 years younger than me, and they're doing better than me. Oh my God, where did I go wrong? Right? Sometimes we forget who we are because we let other people define our purpose. We let other people define who we are. We don't even do the things that we like because we're trying to impress someone else or try to make someone else feel comfortable. So we turn off our light. We're not as bright so that others can shine more. We put our greatness in a closet. We stow it away to never get it. You got to remember who you are. Never forget that. Never forget who you are, what it is that you want in this life. The second point, remembering how strong you are. Matter of fact, I got to go back. I got to go back to the point of sometimes we forget who we are. The second thing is human potential, right? Based on the limits we establish for ourselves. These are limits that we establish for ourselves. We create our own possibilities, all right? So if you leave the possibility in the hands of others, right, they're going to go based upon what they see. But you are the one that's inside of you. You know what you're capable of. You know for a fact that you gave it 100, you gave it 80, you gave it 60. But when you say, well, you know what? I'm going to let someone else decide my fate. I'm going to let someone else decide how good I am. Number one, you're forgetting who you are, right? That you have your own purpose. Your purpose. And the only person that knows that is you. Not someone else on the outside of you, but inside of you. Period. Right? Because when you do that and you allow the external to become the internal, that's when you relapse. Let me tell you something. Someone's hearing me this morning because they're thinking about doing something, or they're thinking about already quitting something. They're already starting to not believe in themselves already. Right? And we're just in the 14th day of the year. Don't relapse in 2020. Here's your opportunity to change your life once and for all. Grab that stuff, man. Grab it, right? The third thing is, it's like someone looking at you as an infant and saying you're not going to be anything just by looking at you, right? What gives them the credibility to do that, right? Oftentimes people say things and it's not really the fact that they said it. It's the fact that you believe it. Because someone's opinion of you does not have to be your reality. It's only if you accept it. If someone says, people are dealing with all types of mental issues. They had issues when they were coming up as a child. Someone told you you'll never be you're a piece of crap. You'll never amount to anything, right? You're dumb. You're stupid. You're incompetent. You're not like your brother. You're not like your sister. You just don't got no sense. Right? These are all the things that people were told when they were younger, and they start manifesting these things. They start carrying these things over into their adult life. Who made them general? What credibility do they have to tell you what you're capable of doing? There's only one person that has that ability, and it's not them. It's you. But when you start confiding in other people, now think about it. I'm not saying you have an all-out conversation with them, but what I'm saying is that you start internalizing what they said, and you start having an internal conversation with yourself. And then you start believing that, then it stops you from doing it. It stops you from being consistent. Well, when things don't work out, you just I don't want to even mess with it anymore, right? But then when you look back at what you did, you see what you're doing. You're making progress, but you let someone else outside of you control what you're going to do. So you procrastinate. Why? And I'm just going from my own personal account. The reason I procrastinate is because I rather feel the pain later than now. See, now I'm living in the now. I feel everything now. But if I put it off to next week, next month, then I feel that pain later, right? And I don't have to feel it now. So I'm betraying who I'm going to be later for who I am now. Think about that. Woo! I hope someone got that, right? The next thing is, right, is out of all the possibilities, there have to be a subject. In order for you to make options, there has to be something. There has to be a subject. You are the subject, right? Everything else doesn't even matter, right? You are the subject. So if you're the subject of your own universe, your own creation, your own life, you have options. You have to exercise those options. But those options oftentimes are controlled by external factors. So the key phrase here is self-image. How do you see yourself? Some people say they want to be happy, but they don't take the actions to make them happy. They never take the appropriate actions to make them happy, right? That could be a relationship, right? They always sabotage. And one of the biggest things going into 2020 is depression. Depression is alive and well. So you have to be cognitive of that. You can't let things just keep building up. And here's the thing. It's easier said than done. And I'm not sitting up here telling you just do it, because that's bull, right? There's so much noise and rhetoric about the just do it movement. Get the out of here with that. right? It's not just about just do it, because there's other factors that go into it. My thing is this: think about the mind, get the mindset right. Because if you're thinking right, you can change. If you can change the way you think, you can change the way you feel. And if you can change the way you feel, you can change the things you do. So it all starts in the mind first, right? The second thing we're going to talk about is knowing how strong you are. Now think about that. Where are you from? What things have you overcome over the years? What previous things have you overcome? Did you forget how strong you are to make it at this point? What adversities you had in your life? How many setbacks? How many situations that you were in a couple of years ago, or even maybe a couple of weeks or a month ago, that you didn't see a way out of it, but you made it through? You made it through because you were strong. You were able to overcome. You responded to it, right? Did you forget that? See, oftentimes we forget. I forgot that. I forgot how hard it was when I first started business. I forgot that I made it through that. I remember when I was in that dusty apartment. I remember that. I made it up. So think about that for a second. If you made it out of that adversity, you're a lot stronger than you think you are. What's getting in your mind? What external things are getting in your mind telling you that you're not? You've made it thus far. How did you do it? Some of you may look back and say, I don't even know how I did it. It was a grace of God, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the result is the result, and the result's in. You made it. So don't forget how strong you are and what adversities have you already went through, and you made it. So if you made it here, why stop now? I always use this little metaphor here, a little analogy, I guess. And I always say, if you think about when the slaves were in Egypt, just think about it. If you're in the desert, right, and you're 75% through the desert, meaning you only got 25% more to go, and you'd be up out of the desert, out of all the heat, the bitterness, the hunger, the thirst. You're going to 25%, you're going to be out of that, and you're going to be able to reach salvation. But at the 75% mark, you turn back around. Now you think about that. So you're 25% away from success, but yet you decide to turn back around because you don't believe in yourself. You forgot who you are. You forgot how strong you were. So now you turn back around to go back through more hell. So by the time you're done, you went 150%. Just imagine if you went. So think about it for a minute. If the further you get away from the desert, the better it gets. If you take the same 75% and go back, because you got to go back. If you're at 75, you got to go back to get back to get out of there, right? So if you were to take that same 75 and go, you'd be 150 on the positive side. But yet you get to the 75 mark and you try to turn back around. Now, what if you don't have enough energy to even make it back? Right? You go 25%. Now you're dead smack in the middle. And you still don't make a decision to go the right way. Think about that for a second, right? The next thing we're going to talk about is more than you give yourself credit for. You got more talents and abilities. I despise, right? I know hate's a strong word. I despise when I see people in a natural state, talented, got all the ability, but they just want to take shortcuts, or they want to hide out because based on what someone else told them. Well, you're not a good writer. You're not a good this. You're not a good that. You're not a good father. You're not a good mother. You're an alcoholic. You're a druggie. You're whatever people tell you. Like there's no such thing as redemption. Like you can't overcome the relapse, right? You one day at a time. How much time can you be clean? Think about it now. I'm saying this kind of metaphorically today. I'm not talking about any particular, but at the end of the day, these are addictions that we have in our lives that we don't talk about, right? What addiction? What is afflicting you right now that if you could shake it, it would change your life, right? You would have the things that you want more abundantly, right? What are those things that you need to shake, right? You are more gifted and talented than you think. Why are you afraid? Number one thing, we call it imposter syndrome, where you just think you're not good enough. Most people, I guarantee if there's something that you know more of than other people. And as a result of that, you can teach that. You can start a podcast with that. You can write a book about it. So many things that you can do because you know more than most. And now you can help other people get to that point of salvation, if you understand what I'm saying. But it takes a certain level of, one, not forgetting who you are. Two, not forgetting how strong you are and what you've made it through. The next thing, number three, is how many people are depending on you. Think about that. That'll make you get up out the bed. See, so when I relapsed and I started feeding myself this poison that, no one's listening, no one's this, that, and the third, what I didn't realize is that since I've been doing the morning motivations, my viewership is doubled. Oh my goodness. Did you hear what I said? So me being in my own head, right, was about to limit me from growing. As soon as I logged in, I said, wow, just off of one platform, I'm looking at my numbers double, right? So, but I'm beating myself up because I forgot who I was. I forgot how far I've come, right? I'm just taking you through my journey and it's being real. See, anyone come with a podcast and talk all that mumbo jumbo to try to get you pumped up for a little bit, and then adversity comes and you're back to square one again. I'm keeping it real with you because at the end of the day, it takes a certain level. You have to have some intestinal fortitude. It's going to take a certain level of, old people used to call it oomph, to get you through it. What's your oomph level at? You got to need, my mom used to say, gumption about you, right? Times are going to get bad. I wish I could tell you it's always going to be great. It's always going to be fantastic. You're always going to win. It's not that way. We wish life was that way, but it's not. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to just let adversity come knock us upside our heads and just say, oh, whatever? We always react in the situation, or are we going to respond to them? How many people are depending on you? And I don't still mean financially, but how many people are listening to you? How many people are looking up to you? Covertly, overtly, whatever. You don't know who's looking at you. And maybe you're their inspiration. So if you quit or you stop, right? See, it's not even about you. See, that's the part. Everyone says, well, I'm trying to find my purpose. The purpose is not even about you. Somebody listening to this morning, somebody hearing what I'm saying. Your purpose, sometimes, for the most part, it's not even about you. It's about other people, right? It's only but so long you're going to lose if you're doing the right things. If you're doing the right things for the right reasons, you're eventually going to win, no matter what you see in front of you. Right? Don't let your eyesight get mixed up with your mind sight. See, sometimes we face all types of issues. Some of us right now, listen to this, may not have a place to stay, may not have a vehicle to drive, may not be able to pay their bills on time, might be going through all financial struggle, may not be able to put food on the table, might have just lost a job, might have just lost a loved one, right? So there's a multitude of things that's going on. So this gives anyone reason to want to quit whatever endeavor that they're in, right? This is the exact reason why they want to do this, right? Look at this. Look at this crap. Once again, I'm set back again. God damn. Right? That's how we feel. That's being real, right? But how many people out there that won't make it because you failed your mission? You stopped running your marathon because you let the haters get into your mind. Let me tell you something. I remember some years ago, and if I ever get an opportunity to actually interview him, I'm definitely going to bring this up to him. But T-Pain, the artist T-Pain, he was receiving an award on an award show, and I never forget this statement. And I was way younger when he made the statement. But he said it one time, I heard it one time, and it stuck with me forever. He thanked God, he thanked a bunch of people, but he said, above it all, I want to thank my haters because you the reason why I do it. I know there was something profound about that. And you listening to this right now, you may say, man, that's pretty profound. I don't know exactly what it means, but thank you. Above all, I want to thank all my haters. You're the reason why I do it. Let me tell you something. If you let the haters stop you from doing something, right, that you ain't gonna get no results. That's their mission, is for you not to do anything. They don't want to see you win. They don't want to see you happy, right? That's what the life we live in. The social media, all the new. We got trolls. We got all type of people. I don't care how positive you can say something. Always gonna be somebody got something to say, and that's all right. But you can't let those people control you. That you just have an inability to do anything. Then you lose. See, Because you know the haters are there and they want you to fail, you do the opposite. And then you can write them a nice little letter with a $20 bill and say, thank you, sucker, right? Thank you. Thank you for motivating you. The reason why I did it, because I know you didn't want me to win. And I had to win. You know, I didn't really have nothing to show you or prove to you, but I had to prove it to myself because I know I'm a winner, right? That's the mindset you got to have. You got to do it for them because they don't want to see you happy. They want to see you depressed. They want to see you on medication. They want to see you strung out on alcohol and drugs and being promiscuous and all these things out there. They want to see you like that. They want to see you tore up. They don't want you to have any values or morals. They want you to be at a lower vibration. You can't allow that to happen, right? You got to do it in spite of them, right? How many times in history have we seen trailblazers that caused the movement? Sometimes these people didn't even do anything positive. Let me tell you a trailblazer that I know personally. And by today, you're going to know her as well. Trailblazer is my mother, Elizabeth Draper. So my mother was a trailblazer, but she didn't write any books. She didn't do any podcasts. She was never on the radio. She never did any television interviews. She didn't do any of that stuff. But because she was a trailblazer, she put ideas into me. She tried to build me up and tell me and really meant what she said when she told me you could do anything you put your mind to. See, it's one thing to tell somebody that, but when you've been beat up in life so much, you saying it, but you really don't mean it. See, people feel it. People understand when someone says something to them, just to say something to them because it's the right thing to say. It's a nice thing to say. But when someone truly says something to you and they really mean it, it does something to the spirit. It does something to the internal side of you. My mama looked in my eyes and told me I could do anything I put my mind to. So guess what? I don't care what it is. If I put my mind to it, I know I can do it. Not I believe I can do it. I know I can do it. I just got to figure out how I'm going to strategize about it. And that's what we're talking about all this year. And I'm going to talk about it all this year. It's about preparation. It's the preparation phase. You're getting ready to go into combat. You're getting ready to go to war. You got to prep. What are you preparing for? What's your strategic plan of action? Well, how are you going to carry this out? But that was a trailblazer that got me to this point now that you're hearing my voice. You're hearing what I'm saying, right? Because she meant something to me. She was a trailblazer in my life. You may not have known her, but you know her through me. You see the product of that. So if you're the product of that to someone, think about that. If you are that to someone else, what if you stop? You know, you think your friends and family don't support you? Nah, sometimes it's that they're scared. They don't want you to experience the pain of defeat, the pain of hurt, the pain of rejection, right? So they keep their distance. But a lot of times they want to see you win, but they're afraid. But if they see you give up, then there's no possibility for them to ever try. Did you just hear what I said? If you stop, if you fail, if you stop running your marathon, it ends any possibilities for them ever making it out. They're trying to live through you vicariously. They're trying to see if it's possible. So when we see these stories about people that came from the most hellacious places on this planet, in this country, you know, violence, gun violence, drugs, turmoil, single parent home, no parent home, incarceration, and they made it through that, it gives other people hope. It gives them a possibility that they can make it. And for so many, that means so much. So I challenge you not to relapse in 2020. Don't feed into the poison. Start building your self-image, your self-confidence in yourself. Start believing in yourself again. Start dreaming. If you one of the ones that say, well, I can't dream when I go to sleep, daydream. Close your eyes and meditate the perfect life. I guarantee you, most people, if you had a piece of paper and said, write out to me what your best life would look like, and you got 2 minutes to do it, most people couldn't come up with 2 or 3 things. And if they come up with 2 or 3 things, they're shallow. What is it? What would be the perfect life for you? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, how do you get it? Hey guys, this is Brandon L. Draper with the Start Thinking Forward morning show. I hope this podcast this morning was inspiring. It helps you get through the week. And man, I just had to pour that out. I just really had to, because it's not about just coming up here and talking about the good stuff. It's about just being real. And I'm a human just like you are. So if you've been missing my podcast, hey, I'm going through life as well, right? It's called life. We got to get through it. But let's not make any excuses. I'm not going to make any excuses because I don't know how many people's depending on me. I don't know. I don't know how many people's depending on you. I don't know how strong you are, but I know how strong I am. I know what I've been through. Do you know how strong you do? Do you remember all the things you got through? Don't forget who you are. Remember who you are and what you want, and go after it. Hey guys, if you want to share your story, want to learn how to write your book, we're getting ready to roll out the Write, Publish, and Profit 3.0 course. Please visit us online at www.pinnaclepointpublishing.com. Also, you can call us toll free at 1-866-222-3940. And please follow me on Instagram at The Real Motivational King. And also, guys, I just want to say this before I go ahead and end this show real quick. Do not allow your own level of insecurity to beat you up. It's 2020. It's a new year. Don't lose the race already. This is a marathon. You got a whole year to go. Don't give up so easily. Don't do that. You'll be surprised what's in store for you if you just go out and make it happen. Have an open mind and grind, right? And remember, above it all, it's never too late to start thinking forward. Hey guys, till tomorrow. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.